nigikan ang vinyl record. Yung anong naman nagitawag nimo og sa to? Philippine Press. Di ba? Unsa man ang plaka diin man ni nagikan. Can you give us a little historical background? Asa man gini nagsugod ang mga plaka-plaka? Kaya nakinumdum ko adto kog mga museum usahay na may mga phonograph records, di ba? Nga kanang naay murag trumpa tanawon, unya tapan niya na ang dagom niya. Na asam you guys have do you know the little bit of history of mga plaka? Ikaw Andy, ikaw yeah, nag-influence nako sa kung kinabuhi.
It started early 1900s.
Okay.
Kuan all 78 speed pa siya kanang shellac na kuan. This is wax, right? Yeah.
Unsa man ang shellac ba? Shellac, unsa man ang shellac ba?
Katong
Trumpa.
Kanang kuan. And then 78 speed tanan.
Okay.
Wala pa 33 and 45 RPM
Okay.
at that time.
So unsa man ang proseso day pag himo og plaka di ay bay? Anong nag-ingon man to si Nico, si Unique nga ang Philippine Press kuno mo pop kuno. Dili pop ka ng pop music ka mo pop. Unsa nang mo pop bay pasabda kuno unsa nang mo pop. Unsa pasabot nang mo pop. Kay daghan makikpasabot nang mo pop usay na adis na termo na mo pop man na siya. Anapoy pop music, di ba? Unsa man ginang mo pop?
Kansa jigs I think there are small scratches bitaw kanang di kay siya ingon na deep scratches so madungog lang nimo
As a pop. Dili siya. Ana?
Because I think the Philippine Press man good they don't use the virgin vinyl.
Uy, virgin. Unsa man ang virgin vinyl?
Kuan kanang
Wala pa nimo hinahikapi, wala pa hinahikapi ni Mandy.
Katong yung kuan gid the plastic gid na fresh gid bitaw.
Okay.
I think the Philippine Press katong gipang melt bitaw katong mahalin and whatever gipang melt na sila to reproduce another kuan. I think that's the cause of kuan.
ang label dili man na matangtang ikamelt. So mo murag mo pop. Kay melt nila ang label
Ang papel.
papel maapil. Kahimo nila balik na ang mga papel.
So kanadayng phenomenon di ay nga ma-associate nato sa popping sound kung mapaminaw ka og plaka. Kaya nakinumdum ko na pagkabata nako, I started in radio quite young and then makinumdum gyud ko ng popping sound also, right? So dili di ay na siya part of the design di ay. That's not the intention. Di kanang pop di ay is actually a defect, right? So kanang pop dili na maka-associate, dili na maka-relate ang mga tao gawa sa Pilipinas nga naay popping sound ang ilang plaka, right?
Makarelate sad sila kay kanang popping sa kon sana anang hugaw imong vinyl.
Kumabugan.
Kumabugan niya. Mo stick na sa kuan mo na mo pop ra gyapon. Pero ang sa Pilipinas yun kadaghanan bisag brand new bisag silgi kan ikana nimo
So pagtuon nato na kondisyon natong utok kanang pasaplaka gali pop gyud na. Kung wala gay pop pasabot na dili na siya plaka. Pero sa pagkatinuura kanang pop mugawas lang na siya kung dili siya defective ang imong plastic kung naay hugaw or abog. You know, sometimes microscopic man. Kinumdum ko na amto murag flanela nga murag lingin nga para limpyo sa plaka, di ba? Di ba? So that's
flanela para dili magaras. You have to follow the grooves.
Yeah. So kaning inyong gidadiri nga sa tawag ani turntable ba? Ang akong mainumduman nga turntable gid sa kinumdum ko sa ako ang mga titog, tita, sa akong mga uncle kanang mga quadrophonic nga dagko kaysa ng mga stereo mga dagko kanang kahoy bitaw murag lungon ang gidakon di ba? Nya kahoy ang iyang frame murag kahoy siya niya paghuman dagko kaysa nan mo na minumduman ako niya pag trabaho na nako sa radio akong minumduman kanang techniques nga turntable kanang para mixing na ba? Mo na ako minumduman so kaning turntable ba? Imong gidakaron unsa man siya? Can you tell us the story of this particular turntable? Kinsa may tagiyan ni? Unsa man unique? Unsa man siya?
Kaya siya pioneer ni siya niya ako ni siyang gipalit kay Unique.
Okay. Kay Unique man mo nga.
Transparent man siya. Dili man siya ingon nga common.
Okay.
So akong gipalit niya. Ako sang gihatag sa akong anak.
Okay.
Karong nangarita ako sang gida.
Okay. So kaning mga turntable unsa can you tell us about how this works? How the turntable works?
Kanang turntable nga katong mga old kuan gyud katong mga vintage makinahanglan gito siya og amplifier nga naay phono input kay i-amplify ang imong signal. Ang katong mga bag-o na nga nanay mga built-in preamp muna na pwede editso sa mga powered speaker, mga editso na diha kay motingog na siya pero katong mga karaan jud para timong gingon techniques makinahanglan gid og phono input para mo boost ang signal kay kung walay puno input di mamutingog.
So ang we're trying to explain to the kids unsa ning turntable, right? Mo gingon lang let's confuse the kids, di ba? So kaning turntable namely parts. Ang ako minduman ani nga parts ani niya especially ang kanang dagom.
Stylus.
Kanang dagom stylus mo man na siya pirmi mura man na siya supply dili man na siya permanente maguba mo expire man na siya di ba? Mahurot man na siya mahog di ba? Mabali man na siya labi na kung magmixing ka mabali gina siya kung scratch ka di ba? Mabali gina labi na imong iyon ani tay sa nam koy scratch ko na gamit. Okay ra scratch nito gamay ba? Ano na ba? Ano? So tell us about that kay maka apekto masad na kuno sa sound ang klase sa dagom, right? Sakto ba ko? At can you tell us about the dagom? Kasi tawag na stylus. Okay.
Diamond, oh.
Limpyuhan limpyuhan po na, di ba?
Yes, kay mo kuha man nag-abog.
Mo gather dust. Yeah, okay.
Ang
Unsa man na Andy Suzara?
diamond tip.
Diamond tip. Mo na pinakamahal sad.
Yeah.
So pila may cost anang diamond tip nga dagom. Kanang inyong gipalit pila man na siyang inana normal lang nga dagom.
1,000 plus.
1,000 plus ra na siya.
Agi upan kanang pinakanipis na gyud na agi sa dagom indot gyud kay tingog magawas gyud iyang pagka-crisp ang tingog.
Okay.
Nay mga 30 plus, no?
Kanang diamond good na stylus.
Stylus ra na o cartridge
Kanang pilabot sa turntable.
Pilabot turntable.
Okay.
Na 15, na 20 na. Pero pang audio file na.
Okay.
Kung para nako saba-saba lang.
Saba lang, okay.
Carlos Balay.
Tukar balay, okay ra na tag libo kapin kay para ra man na personal ko consumption.
Ato
Okay.
na dag-on sa imong mga baffles mga kuan, di ba?
Ang paduol kas microphone Andy.
Ato na dag-on sa mga baffles kay dagko na niya.
Okay. So kanang pag-press the process of pressing may tawag na sa a vinyl record. Can you take us through that process po? Nag-ingon man ka nga lahi gyud ang sound sa gi-press diri sa Pilipinas kumpara sa laing lugar. So unsa man ang proseso di ay? Kanang pag-press. How do you do that?
Ang una na magkuan o master. So mag-engrave o master. Ikaw man engrave ng master mo na himo og stamper. Ikaw man ang stamper iadto na sa kanang muhimo nag mga plaka muna nay mo stamp sa plaka itself para mo porma, hulma.
Okay.
Ay ikaw maana muna na ipangbaligya. Ang sa diri sa Pilipinas ang ato ang mga plaka ipang recycle. Ngunang na mga pops na mga kuan, hugaw, usahay kay na mga bubbles. Bubbles ika nimo mga buslot tungod na sa mga hugaw.
So kanang mga plaka, especially that plaka nga gikan sa atong mga recording companies back then, diri gyud gi-press sa Pilipinas. So
sa Veles.
Sa Veles? Sa Cebu? Sa Veles the school? Ang hospital?
Pressing da sa ubos ilaw.
Napanaron wala na. Wa nga good.
Na Maksurban.
Wow, okay. So dili sa Pilipinas na siya gi mahog og gi-press. Unsa may diferensya sa sound? Gawas atong popping sound nga hisgot nimo compared to let's just say kinsa may pinaka maayo nga mohimo og plaka sa kalibutan back in the day.
Japan or Germany?
Japan. Gwapo gyud Japan. So unsa may diferensya ana kung maminaw ka og plaka nga gikan sa Pilipinas og plaka nga gikan sa Japan for example. Unsa may diferensya? Pareha nga plaka, maksurban diri, maksurban dia.
Ang sa pressing, pressing kay ang sa tuwa lagi hugaw na impurities.
Yeah, aside from
sa
that.
Japan, grabe pala quality. So ika-press nila, limpyo nga ang sound manggawas yun sa gamay hinapakan sa drums manggawas yun.
So dili man na manual, di ba? Naman ay makina, naman ay murag machine to press, right? So possibly pod nga mas maayo ilang machine ito, parihara ng machine sa tibok libutan. Parihara gyud tanan. So
ang quality ra gyud sa
plastic. Ang diferensya.
I think Japan is good sila
High-tech.
High-tech kayo ba. And I think they for us here we use analog kaning master tapes bitaw no. And then while the others murag digital na ilang pang gamit.
Dili. Analog yapon,
Analog
pero
yapon.
gipanglimpyuhan og maayo.
Mo na murag mahog sig digital pa minaw no ang yang sound.
So wala pa may digital. We're talking about the pre-digital age here, right?
Yeah, but
Yes, you were about to say something, Dex.
Ang master pod kay medyo,
Close to the microphone, please.
kay ang kanang master kay medyo manual mangyapon na pagkabuhat kinsa di ba so I think dako siya factor pod kung gyud sa pagkabuhat ang master nga
Ang
stamper
master.
dito.
Of course, ang importante sa master sa
Kaya material I think mo affect sa gid.
ang nakanindot ani gud nga kaning plaka man gud is unlike tape, unlike digital, lisod kay ni kopyahon, di ba? Di ba? Murag kinanglan juga og kaning makinagid ba nga murag mahal kayong investment ba? So ang piracy lisod gayo, di ba?
You cannot duplicate it yourself.
Yeah.
Not like a CD, yun, transfer mo to cassette.
So wala gyud na nahitabo
You cannot,
by sa history sa vinyl records nga nay naghimo og murag consumer level nga vinyl presser. Wala gyud naghimo niya nga baratahon nga.
Karon, 3D printer, hapit na.
Hapit na.
3D printer makabuhat.
So before wala gyud na siya.
Wala gid.
So kay nakahinumdum man ko gud sa history sa music ba nga pag abot na sa tape mo na toy murag sinugdanan kuno sa katapusan sa music industry kay makopya naman ang kanta, ma-tape naman nimo, di ba? Mo toy mga singgit sa mga tao ba nga especially sa mga artists, mga recording companies nga you know like ang atong industriya madaot yun kay na tape, di ba? And so pero kanang plaka wala gyud. So nakinumdum ko nga mga artists like kanang Michael Jackson, Madonna, ang ilang mga album sales maabot og 50, 60 million units sold, di ba? Grabe gyud guys tanan. Karon ang mga plaka, mga record sales sa mga artists, even big artists like Taylor Swift, dako na kay ng 5 million para nila, di ba?
Yes.
Because murag ang mga tao ron dili
online naman.
Dili na kayo mapalit og kaning
Wala
something
na. They don't-
concrete, right? Like a
they don't
vinyl
have-
record, di ba?
They don't have a hard copy anymore.
Yeah.
Ito lang sila sa internet.
Yeah.
They're just, Spotify,
Yeah. Yeah.
happy na sila.
So, which brings me to my next question. In spite of all of these advancements in digital technology ba, and the accessibility of music, nga you can have 1 million songs under your fingertips through music platforms like Spotify, mangitaon lang na nimo, unya magawas ra. In spite of that, why do you think there's a resurgence of this vinyl record collection, this vinyl record music scene? Nga naman na ba?
I think, Jig, nagi-ubang tao na happy good sila to have a hard copy.
Oh, okay.
Because having a hard copy is like taking care of a pet or whatever. Kaya
Okay.
you have to clean it, and then the covers are you have to manually
Mura mo sa nag-canvas po ang kuan
Yeah, yeah.
ang record
Oh, and the artworks, the album covers are like
album cover, di
artworks.
ba?
Yes, yes.
And it's
oh.
an opportunity for them to tell a story, di ba? Kaya kadaghanan sa mga record albums na kinumdum ka tuuna mga mabli-ablihan pa nimo,
Yes,
di ba?
that's
Daghan
true,
pa kay mga
that's true.
layers, di ba? In fact, nakinumdum ko naangid ko yung uncle nga naa siya complete collection sa Star Wars nga record
yes.
plaka bitaw. Gwapo kay mga images. It actually tells the story of Star Wars sa ilahang record label. Kani si PJ dere, ang iyang specialty niya mag design man ni og album covers, di ba, PJ?
Yes.
So sa imuhang nahinumduman, Pidge, unya mong nakitaan kay expose man ka aning mga vinyl records.
Yes.
Unsa may pinakanindutan para nimo personally, pinakanindutan nga a record cover of all time for you?
I think looking at my dad's collection,
Okay.
I remember.
Okay.
I think I can still remember nga ang katong The Beatles nga Revolver nga album.
Okay.
It was too detailed nga psychedelic ang cover. I was so immersed gid kayo sa design na murag at the time. For me,
What's
murag-
the album?
Revolver?
Revolver
Yeah.
from
The Beatles.
the Beatles?
Yeah. So it's a ilang psychedelic nga album.
That is like album nga Revolver nga
Yeah.
Beatles. Tanaw na to be.
Saba-saba na to.
Saba-saba na to. So ga-experiment na sila ato nga stage. So,
Unsa
nindot
ikapila, di ba? Pila ra naka-album gihimo sa Beatles? 5 or napuo basta gamay ra kayo mong napuo ra siguro, di ba? They were together like for 5-10 years only, right?
Yeah.
That's actually the weird part about the Beatles because they've only been around for such a short period of time, but their influence is just unbelievable. Oh, mo ni siya black and white oh.
Yes.
Unsa man ni siya kaning pencil ni siya? Unsa man ni pen? Unsa man ni siya? How do you think this was made?
Yes, it was done in pencil and then ila pananggi unsa siguro giskan nila at the
Wow.
time.
Why
So big fan kay ko sa
why do you like this particular cover? Mura man ni siya kaning murag
lang
weird
yung
na
giveaway.
Ngano man ni ba? What is it about this album cover that you like?
I think murag nakita na ko ang kanang murag ang iyang pagka I think murag there's more to art than what it is at that time. But
Okay.
so I think for me new na kay siya. Sketch and so detailed.
Artwork
It
mo
can
gini, di
be
ba? Artwork mo
something
gini siya.
more.
Artwork
Yeah.
gid siya?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know who the artist of this one is?
Yes, Klaus, was it Klaus Vormann?
Okay.
I know he was German, so I
Was he
think...
like a famous artist back
Yes,
then?
yes. He did a lot of
Nakabantay ko ang
album covers.
mga naong sa mga Beatle members kang John Lennon, kang
Yes.
George Harrison sige ni siya.
Yeah,
Kaning murag straight ang urang ilong, murag kaning weird ang pagka-drawing ang ilong ba?
Yes, mo siya gi-distort and then murag na warp ang ilang mga images.
O nilang mga buhok murag weird sa kita naon, di ba?
Yeah.
Nya mura man ni siya soldier kani siya. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, si George na.
Si George siya.
Yeah.
Anong sundaw mo ning anong namay
Sambot lang, I think ilang gihatag siguro ang mga laylain lang mga pictures. Maybe you can include this in the album siguro.
Oh,
See what you
wow.
can do.
Wow. So tell us a bit of history ba. How important do you think the album cover is to the whole artwork of music making?
Oh yeah, I think I remember telling you that before nga. I think it invites and somehow suggests nga what it promises an adventure ba on what you're about to listen.
Okay.
So it's like an, how do you say that siguro nga kanang mura siya preview or welcome.
Mag-teaser.
Siya ba nga something nga murag you're about to enjoy.
Oh.
So it's like murag nana ba nga.
Sus daghan kay ko mahinumduman ng mga album covers, namely kanang Pink Floyd.
Yes, kana one of the best na labi na Dark Side.
Oh, Dark Side. Oh,
Yeah.
namatay bard ring at Dark Side. By the way, you can drop by there one of these
Mangka
days.
kajig.
Maybe we can have a party there one of these days, or
Yeah.
maybe here.
Yes.
The Dark Side.
Yeah.
So ang album covers importante kayo because it is a kind of teaser to what is to come, right?
Yes.
And part of the storytelling, of course, we were talking about this before, I remember, is of course not just the album cover but also the order of the songs, right?
Yes.
Kay kanang music making before, especially if you already are big enough to make an album, mura nagina istorya, di ba? All of the songs are kind of interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So karon nakabantay ko ba nga gamay na lang kaayo mo use ana nga art form of storytelling when it comes to making albums. Gamay na lang yung kaayo. Again, because my daughter is a Taylor Swift fan. See Taylor Swift, she still does that. Her albums are still kind of interconnected. The songs tell a bigger story, right?
Yeah.
So ang pangutana, I guess, is that art form is lost now. So what took its place? Unsa man like nakibaw ko nga mga especially maybe we can ask Dexter here, right? You're part of Melt Records, right? The storytelling now is different. In fact, a lot of artists that I spoke to, and I can see it good sa Spotify and sa YouTube and also online nga ang mga artists karon they just release one song at a time and they never even put it together in an album, although some do eventually make an album out of it, but after na, right? So that storytelling part ba of an album is totally lost now in this day and age. And what do you think took its place, Dex?
I think ang album is still alive and well, but ang purpose niya is for nausab na gamay.
Okay.
Sa una, gawas kang album daan, di ba? Kaya maligyan naman kasi mong plaka or
Oh.
sa mong CD. And then mag-release kag mga single after para promote sa album. And then karon kay murag ang single maguna kay kanang para ma-discover sa mga tao. Yeah, in the end, like na kay audience, murag pwede ka mabutaw album nga na willing na sila maminaw. But in general, sakto nga, I think ang storytelling karon is short form naman good. Diba? So murag, even ang single kay naginainay ko kay nanay mga daga nagkuhan ba ka content nga 30 seconds lang.
Yeah.
So I think na-evolve lang siya. But in the end, kung fan ka sa banda, syempre ganahan ka na kay murag full story, di ba ngayon lang ganahan ni Talba. So I think most artists mabuhat magyapon gid og album. I think ang purpose lang medyo nausab siya compared sa una nga.
So is this all about business? What I mean by that is this the reason? Is the reason because it's not as profitable as making a full album, and it's also very expensive to make an entire album, right? Compared to making singles. Kaya problema gud kung single lang is pwede ra magud nga tsambahan lang niya ba? Nagkatsamba lang siya one hit wonder. Daghan man kay taga nahibawan nga mga one hit wonders, di ba? And naghimo siya ko sa kanta, nindot kay pero kausa rasad pag human yung follow up niya wala na. Ang iyang gibuhat gisunod-sunod lang to niya iyang hit. Nga murag it's like a pale comparison compared to the first hit he ever made ba. So what do you think of that?
I think I think partly business siya, but I think most artists at least kanang mga kanang loro na independent nga artist.
Okay.
They usually start with an album like
Okay.
himo na nila daan.
Ikaw, you have Melt Records.
That's what we recommend
Tell us about Melt Records. No something Melt Records. Dili ni kaning inspired by the song from BTS kanang Melt Like Butter. dili.
Si PJ actually.
Si PJ
is my
beat.
co-founder, so
So,
coined the term, I think it's a reference to like kanang face melting music.
okay. Tell me about that. Tell me the story of Melt Records. How did it come to be? Go
So
ahead.
I think I've always been I used to be in bands but myself, so I started with kanang my own music, but like putting out my own music.
You have a band. Okay.
And syempre ganahan ka nga more branded siya and everything, so you wanna put your brand there na. But eventually like I started working with mga independent musicians here in Cebu.
Okay.
Like usually mga friends of friends,
Okay.
within the network. Eventually we expanded nga, like we also work with artists na sa Mindanao.
Mm.
We also built a network there. And then even now like we work with some Southeast Asian artists outside the country.
Who are your
Actually, worldwide na.
Melt Records local artists from the region, from the area? We
now,
can talk about.
Ang active good kaya karon in Cebu, we have hold on. We have Kana, Kana.
Kana. Kana. Unsa kanang babae nga afam or kanang tuana kana. Unsa man na?
Kuhan siya actually okay ba knowing ano lang pa okay.
Banda ni siya.
Banda ni sila.
Okay.
They're more of shoegaze, alternative.
What's that? Shoegaze?
Music.
Shoegaze.
So manang shoegaze ba? Wako kasabot ang word ada.
Kuhan siya kanang
Shoegaze man kay kadong.
wala siya alternative rock yapon.
Alternative rock.
Heavy lang siya.
Okay.
Kanang sonic nga effects.
Okay.
And, kanang
Feedbacks.
medyo spacey gamay ang kanang sound niya.
I understand that one of the things that you wanted to do with Melt Records, aside from giving giving your music platform, your personal band, and then other artists a place for them, like a place they can call home. You mentioned ang ganahan ka nga ma-professionalize ang music industry, right? Tell me about that.
So I think for one, I think it's like make better practices, meaning professionalizing like how musicians get their music out. At the same time, also having a fairer lang a system for musicians. Kay, I think like no one really expects, especially mga independent musicians, no one really expects to make money. So sometimes it's easy to be taken advantage of. So that's the part nga we're also trying to help. We try to find kung unsaon na to pag monetize in a way that the artists get their fair share. Hopefully, I think it's a long journey. Kay gamay ra kwarta actually with the independent music na business ba, but we're hoping to get there, like at least find ways more mabuta na nga point.
I remember I think a few weeks ago, I was in City Hall and murag nato sila murag si one of the councilors, I think it was Joel Garganero, crafted.
I was there actually.
You were also there to crafted an ordinance that will kind of try to support local music, right? And I think we need all the support that we can get from everybody. This is not a one-man thing, right? This needs everybody.
Sure.
This takes a village.
Effort.
And all of that stuff. First of all, I think the question is, although it was still raw, the ordinance is still very raw and needs a lot of improvement. How did you feel about that? How did you feel about that particular and how it was crafted?
So I think ang objective sa ordinance kasabot sa ko nga it's really about sonic branding sa Cebu, which I think in the long term will help make it legitimize basically ang kanang local music. I hope it's just the first step kay kanang dagan pagid pwede mabuhat nga makasupport bitaw sa local nga musicians. And I think I hope nga like more siya sa value lang of like what the musicians are doing. Hopefully we get funding. I think that's one of the biggest things, and hopefully eventually just more support with like how to raise the platform, not just locally, but I believe nga ang music is one of those things nga like what South Korea did nga murag export nila ilang music, K-pop became global. That's always something I think we can do with Cebuano music. No? Even if let's say dili ma-appreciate sa local, it's music that I think we can put out there and have make it something to be proud of and make it something that makes money as well for our country as an export. So that's where we want to go, and hopefully that bill is the starting point, and of the ordinance there kay mas starting point siya.
Investors, corporations, governments, for them to give their all-out support require a proof of success. And one of the proofs of success of the South Korean movement was PSY, the Gangnam Style song, right? That was like a kind of proof of success. And somebody like PSY, Psy, can actually make it big, not just in Korea, but all over the world. That became number one in the Billboard charts, right? This was like, how long ago was that? Like 20 years ago? Or maybe less, 15 years ago?
Maybe 15.
Long time ago, right? Wa pa ko natawa to pag hit ato. So akong pangutana, I guess, is we need that, right? And if you think about it ba, daghan mo kayong proofs of success man good of local national artists from the Philippines ba nga making it big worldwide, right? Like I can mention a few, like from the top of my head, like Lea Salonga, for example. This was back in the early 90s, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. She was part of Miss Saigon, right? That was big.
Yeah.
And the album that she made out of that, of course, it did not become a Billboard box office success because it was a stage play song, right? So daghang kay proofs of success ba unsa kay tan-aw nimo Dex, unsa kay kaning murag block ngano man, why is it hard for governments or for even private corporations to invest fully on an artist to go global? Kaya dako mo ng investment, just the promotion, advertising, marketing budget alone is huge, right?
I think for me, kay kanang probably ang biggest nga roadblock is perception. Like perception of and legitimacy, as I mentioned. Kanang, like, for example, ang government, like when we talk about culture and heritage, kay wala pa na ma-appeal ba ang kanang modern nga music, Cebuano music. Like we're still with, kanang historical nga mga pieces. What makes up our history. I think that's the first step probably is to legitimize, and then hopefully when that comes, kay corporations will realize that as well. People and brands can realize that people are drawn to that music. And
go ahead, continue. Sorry.
It.
Okay. One of the biggest things about us as a people is that we were colonized for hundreds of years by the Spaniards, the Americans, and the Japanese, right? So ang atong kultura lahi gyud sa ubang nga nasod. So we have all of these labeled as colonial mentality hanging like a sort of Damocles, right, in our heads. Nga ang ato ang music good is heavily influenced by the West, right? So is that a good thing or is that a bad thing for us in the Philippines as far as music making goes?
I think I don't consider it good or bad.
Okay.
It's just how it is, man. Like I think it's global. Like,
Okay.
It's not just in the Philippines, but na-globalize naman sa gandang kanang music tastes.
Okay.
So it's okay. I think the important thing is still to do it well.
Okay.
Kanang may ang quality, I'm sure nga there's still some gaps ba kay just because of what's available maybe to us and what's affordable for us. But I think ang that style music, I don't really see it as necessarily na siya impact directly with the success of these musicians.
So isn't originality an important aspect of music making?
I think it is. And I think you can be original. You can derive but to still be original.
Okay.
And do something that resonates with your specific audience. I think that's definitely possible.
Like for example, kanang Africa. Let's say si Steffi, right? Her music is she wants to be in like Afrobeats music, right? Africa, klaro juga yung Afrobeats gina siya, Africa gina siya kay you can feel it. In fact, tugay na kani even the Beatles I think want to work with African artists. Si Paul Simon I remember had an album katong napita You Can Call Me Al. What was that album called? He worked with African musicians, right? Kana mga instrumento magud sa Africa kaning unique man sana, di ba? Wala man sana sa uban, di ba? So you can really distinctly hear African sound, and karon because of all of that, karon like na mainstream na ang African sound, African vibe, right? Mura na siya og a sound that represents a country. If you had to pick a sound that represents the country ka, Dex, unsa kay tan-aw nimo? Unsa kana? What could it be? Tinulog?
Ako na ba na jig ng
Like you know what an African sound is, right?
Yeah.
So what is a Filipino sound? Tinulog siguro sa.
Tinikling.
I mean, ang Filipino sound, like, na-establish mo siya,
Yeah.
with the razor heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the Filipino sound.
Yeah.
I think
That could be it,
people know.
right? Yeah.
I think it will evolve, and I think
Mm.
padayon na siya evolve, but still modern music. Like I can't
When I hear
that,
the Razors, I hear the Beatles. I don't know why.
somehow,
yeah,
I think nasa
yeah.
influence.
Oh.
I think we're very influenced.
Everybody's influenced, but there's no one on earth who's making music is not influenced by the Beatles, I think, right?
Directly or indirectly.
Grabe kayo sila ka-influence. Ang ako pangutana ani, kinsa ka-influence sa ani ni Max Urban sa? Naatay music collector direk si Unique nga gipalit para niya sa iyang Italian friend, unfortunately or fortunately named Max. Dili si Max Urban but si Max
Maximo Olivares.
Maximo Olivares? Si kinsa man sa Maximo Olivares?
Dr. Banana.
Doctor. So atong ipatokar karon ba kaning Unique unsa man ni siyang kantaha, unsa ni siyang albuma and all of that. Tell us please.
Ang kanta is Magellan ug Lapu-Lapu. Max Urban ug Yoyoy ning collaboration.
Gitawag na to karon og mash up.
Mash up.
Okay.
Ang album is Double Trouble Rumble.
Double Trouble
Rumble.
Rumble pa gyud. So mura man nag-movie sa?
Oo.
Kadang Double Trouble o abli naman ni siya. Oh my God. Nakanuog mo ito mga kaigalaan. Double Trouble Rumble from that album. So ipadayon ko na nato kuno ang plaka. Papadunggon ko na nato sila og kanang way tukar nga plaka ba. Kadang katulang the gaps lang bitaw. Atong paminawan be. We're talking about kanang way tukar ba? Muna siya sound sa plaka. Mga kaigalaan. Vinyl records niya. Ano siya. So anyway, atong lang ipadayag patukar. So nganong ikaw Unique, nganong kana man imong gipili nga kanta? Nga daghan kayo mga kanta diha, mga album diha nga nganong kang Max Urban man gyud o kay Yoyoy Villami man gyud imong gipili ngano man?
Ako man ay kapanghambog nga na ako ng plaka ha. Kay rare na mo nga plaka.
Okay.
Kang kanang mga plaka ni Max Urban ug ni Yoyoy o naka na magay ka collector kay rare na mo na
Okay.
kung nagay ka na ang mga covers ana lata. Kanang
What do you
mga
mean by lata?
kanang naguba na ba?
Ang ilang
kakaraan
ang mga album.
Oo.
Okay. Pero dili man kani open ka.
Muna
Sealed
ako-
magada ka.
O kanang ako may nana gina mga nindot pag kuan mo nang proud kay ko na nga collection ako.
Ano yan? Maminaw sa gana dahil sa balay dahil? Oh, ha? Maminaw ka? Kanina sa puton? Oo, sa puton.
Kanad dito karon. Rawa sapot.
Yeah, kanina ba kayo mga anak ba? If you don't mind.
Anak kay duha.
Anak kay duha. So, how do they feel about how do you explain to them vinyl records, number one, and how do you explain to them Max Urban and Yoyoy Villami to your kids?
Ang maguwang nuway hilig sa music ang manghod.
Okay.
Ay kaduha mo ini sunod.
Okay.
Nana siya isang kagulingong collection sa vinyl.
Okay.
Nya kaning Max Urban ug kuan ang ilang kuan is malingaw man sila paminaw. O nya ako lang gi ang ikaduha ako kaduhang anak ako nginan nga dong mamatay gyud ko. Ay gini gibaligya akong plaka kay pertigyo dako na ko gasto ani. Imuha ni ayaw ibaligya.
Okay. But dili isn't the point of collecting aside from having it with you, isn't it like a kind of investment also nga mabaligya ako nimo? More bag sakinan ba nga kaning ako lang ning i-preserve sa kinana kay ikamatay na ko 100 years from now mahal na kining sa kinana, for example.
Ang kuagong kuan sa collecting nangita gay kana para na kay kopya
Okay.
mo lang ibaligya.
Okay.
So kinsa may mali pa yung imong gibaligyan, ikaw pertin mo pangita na pertin lisura pangita o mo lang ibaligya.
Okay. So you don't buy like two things, two copies of everything day?
Dili.
Para usa para baligya, ang usa para
Wala.
imuha.
Di kay kani ko mangin ani lisod pag pangitaon di kakakuha og tagduha-duha ni.
Okay. So rare na siya.
Oh, rare ni siya. Ug makakuha gay ka og nindot nga kopya for keep na gina.
Okay, this conversation can go on forever, right? In fact, I suggested to Maymay here, your road manager, Maymay Varon Ong and PJ Ong here. Let's do this one regularly. But akong pangutana sunod niya ni is namo event pohon karong weekend, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about this event. Unsa may ngana ni nga event? ato sigurong ang atong official pronunciator,
Yes.
ang atong spokesperson,
Promoter.
si Maymay Baron Ong.
Kompleto man jud.
Kompleto na pwede sila maglibog. Ang atong mga amigo-amiga know you for being Maymay Baron, right? Of course, namilyo man siya, nag-snag man ni PJ Ong dire. So Maymay Baron Ong na. Maymay, unsa man ning eventa that involves these vinyl records? Go ahead, tell everybody.
Maing buntag sa tanan. So, natay event karong weekend.
Okay.
It's called Stacks of Wax.
Okay.
Record
Stacks
Store
of Wax.
Weekend. Unya, we're on our 3rd year.
Okay.
So, year 3 na ni karon unya. Pwede ko mangimbitar, Jigs?
Pwede imbitar basta binisaya lang.
Binisaya
Kanang
lang
laon,
nato.
pinamaksurban o yuyo bilyami nga invitation.
Ganahan ko ana. Mangimbitar mi sa tanang Cebuano o bisag dili Cebuano.
Pwede
Kung
lang.
naalang mo diri ni bisita mo sa Cebu and you happen to be here this weekend,
Okay.
please drop by Stacks of Wax.
Okay. Unsa may tabo aning Stacks of Wax ang asa man ni go ahead.
Stacks of Wax is going to be in BTC, Banilad Town Center,
Okay.
this weekend,
Okay.
April 26 and 27.
Saturday and Sunday ba ni?
Oh, Saturday, Sunday. Unya, kung ganahan mo, hilig mo music, hilig mo plaka, hilig mo anything analog nor analog audio,
Okay.
please drop by. So, daghan kay tag mga sellers didto, no? Nga namaligya og plaka, nasay mamaligya og merchandise, music merch, mga t-shirt, inana, and then naasay mga hi-fi equipment. So, please do drop by. And of course, naasa tay mga selectors nga mo play og music the entire day.
Selector. Unsa man ang selector?
Selector. So, mo ni silang mga hilig og vinyl na mo play sa ilang vinyl collection on that day.
Okay. So is this a free event?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Admission is free.
Okay, so asa man ni dapita sa BTC?
So, nani siya sa lobby sa Banilad Town Center and then 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. karong Saturday ug Sunday.
So maybe you can give us a kind of a list, maybe perhaps of the mga are they called vendors, exhibitors, or participants of the Stacks of Wax
Yes.
Record Store Weekend on its 4th year,
3rd year.
3rd year pa
Soon to be
at
4th
the
year.
BTC. Go ahead.
Napa next year gid.
Of course, yeah.
Sige, so atong imo shout out ta sa atong mga sellers or vendors. We have Buy House, Hall Records, Rotten Records, Sugbuanong Plaqueros, Hi Sir Ray.
Sugbuanon Records.
Sugbuanong
ha?
Plaqueros,
Wow.
The Vintage Hub Cebu.
Wow.
Of course, Melt Records, Vinyl Wall, DGR Digital Printing, katong mag-sell og mga t-shirts and napoy uban plaka. Naputay grupo nga Cebu Hi-Fi Enthusiasts, magdani silag mga component, no?
Okay.
Nya, we have The Basement by Intensity Prime Audio and of course Vicor Viva Records.
Wow.
Yes, mo na atong line up for this weekend. So daghan kay mog time mangukay,
Okay.
mo interact sa inyong mga fellow vinyl enthusiasts. So
So kani sila maligya sa ni sila og mga plaka, I think, and other stuff aside from kaning
Cassettes.
vinyl records, right? Cassette tapes and CDs and even merch like shirts and all, right?
yes.
Unya, I'm curious ba, is each vendor going to have their own payment system or can centralize yung payment scheme and how does it work in
Kuan
terms
gyud
of
siya. Good question, Jiggy,
Okay.
kay para mag-ready mo when you go there. Cash or GCash.
Okay.
So mo na ato nga payment options. Yan
Okay.
sa tay mga ATM dito sa BTC, so what's your problem?
May Union Bank dito, o
Union
BPI.
Bank o
Oh.
BPI,
So
exactly.
sayon na kayo, withdraw lang mo dito.
Please be ready.
Ano, namasan mo yung kidney, di ba?
Kana.
Kung hindi makalisod, pwede naman ipinda, naman eBay, di ba?
Lisod-lisod na naman. Makuanta ng dapita, Jig.
So kada inyong mga selector ba, mga curators, mga DJ kaning influential DJ Andy Suzara
Si
ba?
Andy Suzara.
Kano saan ni sila motukar? Tibok adlaw ni or night specific times? Na schedule
Kuan
sa
siya,
DJs?
between 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
So, na siya specific time schedules pero
Kung ganahan ko nga
kanang-
si Andy Suzara ba akong paminahon, sa maning oras motukar siya?
sa Sabado,
Okay.
Buena Manog yun, 11 a.m.
Okay.
1 hour set.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Kinsa pa ilain nga DJ na imong giinbitar diya?
So we have Alan Raimundo, we have Unique, of course. We have Dr. Banana, mao ni si Max.
Dr. Banana.
Yes.
Specialized in world music.
World music.
Banana music.
Banana, Tundan, Lakatan,
Oh.
kompleto ko no.
Okay, okay.
So, that's Dr. Banana. Unya, napunta for day 2, we have Analogizer, we have Stereo Mafia, Kang, and Tara Blones. So, that's our lineup. Unya, some other surprise selectors pod
Unya in case na nahibong mo sa gitukan na part man ni sa Double Trouble Rumble album ni Max Urban ug ni Yoy Billamy. O kang Max Urban na gini siya. Katura ko sa kanta na Yoy Billamy. Unsa man ni siya? Sila gini duha, collab gyud na nila.
Dili unsa na nga song kanikuan?
No, pero kaning album kang Max Urban na gini siya. Max Urban na gini siya. May isagla ko may kaning ang vibe anang lugar ba nindot kayo ikapik-kapi. Kung dili may gabi na, magbirbir na, mag-wine-wine, mag-whiskey-whiskey na. Unsa may vibe dito? Naaling ko na nito makahangout-hangout na dito. Kaya ganahan ko may hangout-hangout ni PJ, mag-story surbot ba? Na dito.
Oh, naagito yung mga lingkuranan dito.
Okay.
Naamanguta sa main lobby, Jig.
Okay.
Unya, kanang paningura doon sa gid namo nga bisag sa unsa kainit.
Okay.
Amog yung pabugnahon ang lugar para
Magdakag ice
din
ito.
para makahangout mo nami mga iwata. Jig. So,
Usam na iwata?
amo ginagiredy.
Mga electric pan?
Oh, kanang coolers ba?
Okay,
Unya.
okay.
Nasad ko yung mga
Wait, sa gawas na siya? Sa gawas?
Sa sud ta.
Sa sud, pero
Okay, mulanay man ang-
muinit na dede.
Daghang tao.
Bagang tao.
Oh,
Okay.
heatwave man gud karon.
Okay,
Pero kuan,
So pwede makahangout dito. Na
pwede ra.
tables and chairs dito.
Oh,
so
naara
how
yun.
about the refreshments? So of course BTC is surrounded by great
Yes.
restaurants and bars, right? But are you going to bring it there ba sa venue or madto jud ka sa lugar? Pwede mo madaan ito? How does it work?
kuan na gyud.
I'm trying to imagine myself being there.
Yes,
okay.
good question kayo. So dito sa main lobby mismo, naasad gyud tay mga naa si bubble tea station, so naa kay pabugnaw dito nga coffee, bubble tea, na
Okay.
si prutasan ni Adan. They
Okay.
also have their own set of refreshments, na
Okay.
sila yogurt, ice cream.
Okay.
And then if you want to go a step further, naa gyud tay mga restaurants just outside the lobby. Coffee shops and restaurants. So
Yeah.
you can definitely bring your cup of iced coffee
Na may
there.
curate diya, ba? Curate diya.
Naasad na si
Kay lami
Curate, na si Kushi
kanang
Izakaya.
plaka ba lami kinapaminawon niya mag-inom-inom kag whiskey, di ba PJ? Di ba bay? Ha?
Pwede.
Dili na mahimo og kanang kuan lang oy kanang non-alcoholics good. Kamay lang good, one shot lang good, di ba Andy? Mo na bad influence kani si Andy Susara nako. Kay mo ni nagpasugod nako inom mo ni si Andy Susara gyud nga bad influence kay gwapo mo kay patukar niya good. Bong, asan man ka nagtukar-tukar ron Bong? Like I know you still play. I remember I saw you at the pavement not too long ago. Where do you play these
Right
days?
now, tonight I'll be at 1521.
Asa man ang 1521 diha sa kuan sa Mabolo sa
In Bonifacio.
Bonifacio.
District. Yeah.
Mabolo mo sigap ng pangalan lugar, I think, right?
Panagdait.
Panagdait na siya.
Yes.
Kani si PJ si Andy, unique ni siya nga DJ. Dili ni siya kaning DJ nga kanang Di na siya kanang club DJ ba? Kani siya can you explain to our listeners what kind of DJ is Andy Susara? Go ahead.
Actually, I'm between vinyl and digital DJ.
Okay.
So I usually play at bars.
Okay.
I usually look at the crowd bitaw. For example, I look at the crowd, amrag 80s the crowd ni.
Okay.
So I play 80s music. So
Okay.
akani mga jazz ni, so I play jazz.
Okay.
I look at the audience.
Yeah, but that's all DJs. Mo mga buhaton sa DJs, but
Yeah.
you don't mix songs, right? Dili man nimo i-mix your skill, your talent is not in the mixing, it's in the curation, right? It's in the choosing of songs. Am I correct?
Yes.
So what kind of DJ, what do you call that? Is that what Maymay said, katong selector? Is
Yes,
that what you
I'm
are?
a selector, yes.
DJ selector, right? So ikaw kaning Andy ba? If you had to pick one song, ato ipatukar karon, unsa man ang pinakanindot nga kanta para nimo, para ni Andy Susara? Nga naatay plaka diha karon. Ha? Sa may naa diha. Sige unsa lang, pwede binisaya, pwede in English, pwede Italian, unsa man kantang nindot diha be?
More to lose.
More to lose. Ato na patukarong more to lose be. Pero kanang more to lose, nakinomdom ko.
Siya na dancing.
Nakinomdom ko ng more to lose kay paborito man na ako nga comedian si Ricky Gervais, nga comedian siya, host mga sa Golden Globes. Unya number 2, kanang more to lose na daghan kay kog copy sa nga kaning kanang bitong free nga single records bitaw 45s bitaw 45s.
Yeah.
But nakinumdum ko na rare kaayo nga show na dancing more to lose nga remix. Remix na siya or single na siya?
This is the single.
Single
7
version.
Inch, 7 inch.
Wala kay
The 12 inch.
12 inch version.
I have in digital form.
Digital for wala na kay vinyl record.
This
So
this one, the 45.
so kani nga kanta ato ning paminawon ha. This is Andy Susara's favorite song Of course, Andy Susar is one of the DJs who will be performing this weekend at the BTC for
Check
the
me out Saturday,
Stacks
11,
of Wax.
11 to 1 a.m.
Okay, paminaw-
1 p.m. Sorry. Oh, 12 hours.
Diri sa kuan sa Sky 360 magtukan ni so ato isugod itong tarong.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mortaloo Shauna Dancing, a rare vinyl record copy, a 45 record, right?
Yes.
Ang speed ani 45 po, di ba?
45 RPM.
105.1 TMZ. That one is the single version of that song popularized by my former radio station Y101 a long time ago back in the 90s. That one is Mortaloo Shauna Dancing, the 45 record single version. Kaning single version mo na siyang gamay nga plaka, di ba?
7-inch.
Pero ang speed po sa imuhang turntable, imo pong i-adjust, di ba? Nana siya adjustment 30. Kung imo itong ibutang og 45,
Pas-pas.
muking ko ito siya, di ba?
Dili, kadang
Muking ko-
katong 7-inch, 45 ang speed. So, ang katong dag ko, katong 33,
Mura muking ko.
muna mo king ko.
Kinumdum na ko da ni kinumdum jud ko storya ni Jack Dawa katong una ba katong former radio station ako ba nga kani Jose Marichan kata nga Tell Me Your Name bitaw. Iya bitaw nang gi 45 hasta nga ligriha to kinumdum ko nga si Jose Marichan mahatag na namo usa ka karton nga kape kada Pasko. Pasukad atong adlaw wa nang gimi taga kape ni Jose Marichan.
Kita niyo.
So Unsani, before I let you go, guys, because you know I know you guys have a lot of things to do as well. We will play a rare song. So I go ni Andy. Morning kata.
Ano?
What is that song? What is that song? Unsa maning kata? Sige, so ko unsa maning kata kaning Dex. Isa mo ning Melt Records siya nga kanta din sa maning.
Oh, actually, gani siya nga song kay from Cobra Commander. Ang pangalan niya.
Cobra Commander.
Cobra si Mang Ubraw.
Cobra. Mora day kaning kaning mga unsa ta mga 5'6" na 5'6". 5'6".
Oh, parang yan na.
5'6", oh.
Spelling
Oh.
Pero yeah, I think kani nga plaka actually is from a collective sa Manila nga shoegaze.
Shoegaze.
Focus sila.
Okay.
Shoegaze Pilipinas lang pangalan.
Kanang shoegaze ba? Is that did we coin that word? Did the Philippines coin that word?
No, it's a global thing.
Okay, shoegaze. How do you spell it? How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
Say
Shoe
Ireland.
as in tutok sa sapatos. Shoe.
Shoegaze.
Gaze.
Magtutok ka sa mga sapatos.
Kaya mga banda sa una nga kanang yan yung tukar kaya magtutok sa sapatos magtukar. So,
Mauwa man.
Sige, ato nang paminahon me. This is what is the song called?
so the song's Contigo. So this was released sa Melt Records. We let them use it sa kaning compilation which is good kay at least naisibu nga band pod ba nga
Okay.
nasa vinyl bitaw.
Okay, so what is the song?
The song is called Contigo.
Contigo. The band is.
Cobra Commander.
Let's hear it. This is the vinyl episode here at 105.1 TMC with Jiggy Juice. 105.1 TMC. That one is from the Other Things Your Scene Is Never Alone album from a band from Cebu called Cobra Commander. Tigpaningil og utang ni sila sa 5'6". Ang kanta gitawag og Contigo. And before I let you guys go, please, Dex, why don't you invite them to support Melt Records, support your artists, and how can they do that? Go ahead. Hold on, give me a second. Go ahead. Yeah.
So you can follow us sa among socials, Melt Records PH, one word. And yeah, I think we have a lot of really great talents sa Cebu.
Yeah.
Like Melt Records is just a very small part of the big music community here. Hopefully you guys find what you like. No, I don't naman tagana mo support lang po tungod kay local pero tungod kay ganahan ta, diba?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll find something you'll like.
Yeah, but see,
hopefully from our label.
let me just insert a little bit of what you said. Tinuod na nga dili ta ganahan mo suporta, dili na to ganahan, pero usahay man gud ang atong mga artists kinahanglan og suporta whether ganahan ta sa ilang music or not, right? Because sometimes it is just a financial reason why they sound like that. Perhaps they don't have the proper equipment, they don't have the proper training, they don't have the proper this and proper that, right? So even siguro, I venture in saying lang even if dili ka ganahan kaayo sa artist, just the fact of the matter is maybe you can see the potential of the artist.
Appreciate lang.
You appreciate ka, just you're supporting local artists. So dili ka kinanglan nga ganahan sa artist nga imong suportahan because eventually they will probably become the artists that you will eventually become big fans
for
of,
sure,
right?
for sure,
Right?
no.
So go ahead.
Give it a chance.
How do you do that? How do you have like a website, a bricks and mortar store, Spotify? Go ahead.
So yeah, we have vinyls and CDs available and cassettes actually available.
Wow.
sa Stacks of Wax this Saturday.
Okay.
So you can check it out. If you're into physical na media, if not, no, I think we're on social media as well. Melt Records PH on Facebook, Instagram. You can find our releases there. We also have a website, melt-records.com.
Melt-records.com.
Yeah, all of our releases are available sa Spotify,
Okay.
Apple Music, and all the major streaming platforms. And yeah, I think if you want to really support the artists, go to shows as well.
Yeah.
We also put up events now with
Oh,
our,
really now?
Yes, with our
So when's your next
local
event?
artists. We have one in May
Okay.
17,
Okay.
sa Cebu Making Space in Mango Square.
Cebu Making Space.
Yes.
Okay, where? What's the event?
It's called Out to Play, so it's a kuan na siya kanang murag mix na siya of like indie bands and independent artists here in Cebu.
Okay, is it headlined by a particular band?
No, it's no headliner na show.
Okay.
It's really a group na show.
This is all like Melt Records artists, or no? Not
A
necessarily.
few are Melt Records artists, but not all of them.
Not all of
And
them,
I think
okay.
we want to support as well.
So
more
what's the
artists
date
outside.
and where can they get the tickets? Are there tickets available? What?
Yeah, it's in. You can find the link on our website as well, and on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So the ticket's 200 pesos lang. Barato ra kayo na.
Yeah,
And,
that's nothing, right? And you're not just entertaining yourself. You're also supporting the local artists, right? That's
Yes,
one of the
for
many
sure,
ways you
for
can
sure.
support, right? I mean, it sounds kind of especially with our culture, mga kwarta, but that's actually a very concrete way of helping them, because sometimes it's really just a financial reason why they can't become a
Yes,
bigger band
for
than they
Mm-hmm.
are. Because I know a lot of artists who I've said this line, you should be a bigger artist. Why why are you still playing in obscurity, right? You should be like a bigger artist, right? Bigger in the sense that you have a bigger audience, bigger pull, and all of that stuff. And you can be a part of that by making these artists make a living off
Yes.
their art, right? Mo mo pinaka-importante ko.
Kasi mo-support lang sa kanang ilang manggasto,
Yeah.
at least, no?
Para lang kikibaw ka. You know what I realized pa is like kaning mga artists kaning mangaon sila sa mangaon sila labi na kog dili na sila mukaon. Ha? Mukaon sa kaya? You're addicted to food sa di ay? Naunsa. So kinahanglan gigagwarta di ay. Sa muna akong pasabot ba nga people, these artists, they don't come out churn out great music and they don't eat, right? They still need to feed themselves, their family, and have bills to pay, right? So importante kayo ang ganahan mo nga mas nindot pag ilang art, maka-focus sila silang craft, gaano mo sila gamay nga pahalipay para di na sila magunahon na silang bayranan sa tubig, di ba? O sa kuryente. O palit og bugas, tag 20 pesos na kuno bugas on page. You na page?
Pero makarelate
Ah,
si
ah,
Nico na.
ah?
Kaya paano ba? DIY ba?
20 pesos na kanong kilo. Lami na ba kayo ikaw og kaning kanon sa atong mga pagkaon, kanang mga humba, kanang mga buwa, di ba? Lami kayo ikaw kanon, di ba? Di ba?
Minimum, di ba?
we digress. Andy, why don't you invite them to your show in other venues, and of course your performance, your selection slot, if you want to call it that,
Yes.
during the Stacks of Wax event this weekend at BTC. Go ahead, sir.
Guys, see you this Saturday and Sunday. I'll be playing Saturday, 11 to 1 p.m. Stacks of Wax 3 at Manila Town Center. Hope to see you there.
Ilang mo palabig padol ka, may influence mo ni Andy Zuzara. Seriously.
I'll be playing 80s new wave, some 70s funk stuff.
70s funk stuff. Katong mga Marvin Gaye?
Yeah, Marvin Gaye, Isley Brothers.
Oh, okay. And how about your social media presence? Do you have any that we can visit and maybe
It's just my
perhaps-
Facebook page.
Okay.
Yes, Andy Boy Cesara.
If you want to invite Andy Suzara to your venue, to your bar, to your restaurant, to your event, please go to Andy Suzara.
Oh, wedding! I played at their wedding.
Yes, of course. Ay lang yung palihog, ay lang yung palabig padol kay ma-influence mo na niya.
Thank you guys. Hope to see you this weekend. Thank you.
Asa mas unique. Unique. Dali sa unique. Panamilit sa dia unique. Nasa kay mga fans oh. Unique. Naam ko na kay Trismil kabok mga plaka ni. Asa lagi butang nimo? Asa ni kwarto? Ha? Sa mong kwarto. So gamay
tupat sa asawa.
Ha? Yeah, pag human dili magabagot do mga sawa nga. Sus makapalit ang tanag laing bayan ning yung mga plaka oy.
O sa kay Boss Chris.
Wa sa kay Boss Chris. Imo lang isip.
Muna, di mo sultian. Di kana ni mo nga. Nana sa lagi karton lain. Amot kung kinsa na. Ana ra ka. Pa-blind-blind din kada.
Dili Shopee lagi. Sige. Dili ni
Nalagi karton gikas Japan. Pa-blind-blind din
Ini
kada.
nga, Shein na siya, Shein.
Kani nga bisyo ba ang vinyl mo? Okay ra gid mabankrupt. Nagit ka grabe ang love for vinyl.
So unique unsa man imuhang invite them to I don't know, to your house to check out your 3,000 records. Go ahead, tell everybody. Oh.
Kuan karong Sabado, 3 p.m. to 5. Tukar ko sa BTC, Stockbox.
Okay, unsang
Akong tukaron kay katong mga alternative new wave nga
may maksurbanog wala
ko na.
Okay.
Alternative new wave nga may pagka punk gamay katong mga Kes Midedly ni Generation X katong minana katong mga
pero mamaligya sa kag mga plaka nimo di imong makuan sa ning 3,000 ka plaka nimo wala okay baligya.
Na ako'y baligya pero sa ko amigo gikas gawas.
Okay.
Ako adi ko baligya sa ako.
Okay.
So ako rin hatag sa anak.
Unsa man mga plaka nga baligya si mong amigo?
Mga new wave 80s.
Mga 80s. So na mga The Smiths diya, mga
Lisod
mga The Cure, unsa man
lisod kay na.
Unsa man na siya?
Lisod na pagitaon.
Unsa man imong mga
na dito yung mga Thompson Twins, minana.
Okay.
Mga
Thompson Twins? Okay.
Na dito yung mga atong Alphaville. Na ito Alphaville.
Mo man ang mga tukar sa akong lolo itong una, mga Alphaville. Ha?
Akong lolo.
Alphaville ka ng forever young sa? Oh, gipadungog ko na sa akong lolo before siya namatay, ningawan ko atong katahay.
Minana, baligya.
Anyway, thank you so much. Sa imong social media, Unique, do you have anything on your social media platforms? Sa private,
makita sa
private person ka? Daghan sa kay mangita nimo sa?
Why makita sa kong Facebook. Ako rin yung asawa.
Okay. Sige, fine. PJ and Maymay, the power couple, please. Why don't you invite them one more time? PJ, go ahead. Oops, anong ton? Paong dito.
So see you guys at Stacks of Wax.
Okay.
Year 3 na ta. So this Saturday and Sunday sa BTC. Please drop by.
Okay.
Kita-kits.
Yes, pag-withdraw na mo sa inyong cash.
Ay, dili kinanglan lagi kay na may ATM to dolo dito.
May ana pero sa make sure
Ang inyong buhaton ba sultiin ninyo inyong magdaan nga ipapuno na inyong ATM machine
ilang ATM.
para kaning matukar na mapalit na lang ilang ganahang paliton.
Cash na lang.
GCash na lang. Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you,
the
Jiggy.
Stacks of Wax team, Maymay and PJ, together with Unique,
Stacks of Wax.
Andy Suzara, and of course Dexter. Dexter, I will expect to play. Our listeners are expecting to listen to Melt Records songs on the radio. Okay, importante yung mga is the radio is still a very good promoter of music. Although radio has good quality, it can never match the quality of the digital copy, right? So they will still eventually buy the records if they want the song that they hear on the radio. Okay, kanang radio mo good. The music is the quality of the sound is good, but it's not. It's different in different areas of its target market, right? So ganahan gyapon sila mapalit og plaka, right? So or CD or download some music and listen to Spotify, but radio will help promote your music. Daghang salamat sa inyong pagpamina. I hope to see you guys this weekend at the Stacks of Wax event at the BTC. Dito ta mag-standby. Right, PJ?
Yes, standby ta ninyo dito,
Standby.
Stacks of Wax.
Yeah.
Thank you kay Jiggy. Appreciate it.
All right.